From being the underdog to winning 6-2 on aggregate over Paris Saint-Germain, Bayern Munich have done what many thought was impossible. This is the road to victory. Stay the course. Welcome back to the channel. It's me, and in this video, we will look at how Bayern Munich completed the impossible by knocking out Paris Saint-Germain in the quarterfinals of the Champions League. Before we begin, I would like to ask you all to please consider liking this video and subscribing for more great content. Without further ado, let us get into it. It was impossible for Bayern Munich to defeat Paris Saint-Germain. They were missing their best players, had just appointed a new manager, and were coming up against one of the most feared teams in Europe. The task seemed daunting, yet Hansi Flick's men were ready. The first leg took place at the Allianz Arena, and Flick named his strongest possible side. Manuel Neuer was in goal, protected by a back four of Benjamin Pavard, David Alaba, Jerome Boateng, and Alphonso Davies. Joshua Kimmich and Leon Goretzka made up the holding midfield, with Thomas Muller and Serge Gnabry on either side of Robert Lewandowski in attack. Paris started brightly and created the first chance of the game inside the opening 5 minutes. Neymar received the ball on the left and cut inside onto his right foot before unleashing a powerful effort towards the top corner. But Neuer pulled off an incredible save. As the match wore on, Bayern grew into the game and started to dominate possession. They created several chances but lacked the cutting edge in the final third. PSG's defense was well organized and dealt with most of the threat posed by the German champions. Just before halftime, though, everything changed. Kylian Mbappe went down in the box under a challenge from Pavard, and the referee pointed to the spot. Neymar stepped up to take the penalty and sent Neuer the wrong way to give PSG the lead. In the second half, Bayern continued to push forward in search of an equalizer. However, they struggled to break down the Parisian defense. With 10 minutes remaining, Flick decided to throw caution to the wind and introduced Eric Choupo-Moting in place of Goretzka. The substitute almost made an immediate impact, but his header from a Kimmich cross was saved by Keylor Navas. In the 87th minute, the referee awarded Bayern a penalty of their own after a handball in the area. Up stepped Robert Lewandowski to equalize and send the game into the break at 1-1. Having drawn the first leg, Bayern knew that they had a mountain to climb in the second leg at the Parc des Princes. PSG were a formidable opponent, and the reigning French champions would be looking to avenge their defeat in last year's final. Flick made 2 changes to the team that drew the first leg, bringing in Corentin Tolisso and Douglas Costa in place of Goretzka and Gnabry. Despite being the underdogs, Bayern started brightly and created the first chance of the game. Lewandowski played a clever 1-2 with Kimmich before unleashing a shot from the edge of the area. Navas was equal to it, though, and pushed it away from danger. On 32 minutes, PSG took the lead through a penalty from Neymar after Alaba brought down Di Maria in the area. The Brazilian made no mistake from the spot and sent Neuer the wrong way to give the hosts the lead. With the aggregate score now at 2-1 in favor of PSG, Bayern were in danger of crashing out of the competition. Flick needed his team to step up and find another gear. He made a triple substitution on 65 minutes, introducing Kingsley Coman, Ivan Perisic, and Jamal Musiala for Tolisso, Lewandowski, and Douglas Costa. The changes initially paid off as Bayern began to dominate possession. However, they were unable to create any clear-cut chances. With time running out, Flick threw everything he had at PSG, but the home side's defense stood firm. Despite dominating possession, Bayern were unable to find the goal they desperately needed. In the 93rd minute, Marquinhos was sent off for a professional foul on Coman, giving the visitors a lifeline. But even with a man advantage, Bayern couldn't find a way through. The match ended with PSG winning 1-0 and advancing to the semifinals with a 3-2 aggregate victory. So why did Bayern win? How did they do the impossible? Well, it all started with the manager. Hansi Flick is arguably one of the best managers in the world. He's a master tactician, and his teams always play attractive football. When he took over a struggling Bayern team in November 2019, he implemented his high-intensity pressing style immediately. This led to an unprecedented treble-winning season in 2020, which included a 1-0 Champions League final victory over PSG. PSG would have been wary of facing Flick's men again, and they knew that they were in for a tough game. Under Flick's guidance, Bayern were able to press high up the pitch and force PSG into making mistakes. This led to several chances in both legs, but ultimately they were unable to find the back of the net. Bayern's attacking threat cannot be understated. Players such as Lewandowski, Gnabry, and Müller are world-class, and they can cause any defense problems. In the first leg, Lewandowski scored from the penalty spot to equalize for Bayern. And in the second leg, they came close on several occasions. If Bayern had been more clinical in front of goal, the result could have been different. PSG's goalkeeper Keylor Navas was the man of the match in the second leg, making several crucial saves to keep his team in the game. PSG defended in numbers and were able to frustrate Bayern's attackers. Navas was also helped by some questionable decisions from the match officials. In the first half of the second leg, Bayern had a goal ruled out for offside, when replays showed that the player was clearly onside. Additionally, a penalty appeal in the second half was waved away, despite the ball hitting the hand of a PSG player inside the area. These decisions could have had a major impact on the outcome of the tie, but ultimately it was PSG who held on to win. The match officials' performance has been called into question, but ultimately they were just one part of a very even contest. Bayern were the underdogs going into the tie against a more fancied PSG side. Despite this, they were able to compete with the French champions and ultimately knocked them out of the competition. Bayern's victory was a testament to their never-say-die attitude. They were able to stay in the game when things were not going their way, and they were able to make the most of their opportunities when they arose. Their defensive unit was solid throughout the tie, and they were able to keep PSG's star-studded attack at bay for the most part. In the end, it was a disappointing result for Bayern, but they can hold their heads up high, knowing that they gave it their all. They proved that they are still one of the best teams in Europe, and they will be hoping to go one step further next season. And that's it for this video. What did you think of Bayern's performance against PSG? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.